Jordan Love, Micah Parsons, and the Green Bay Packers square off with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. You could not draw this one up any better. The trade before the season begins, Micah Parsons goes to Green Bay and makes his return to Arlington to face the Cowboys. Dak Prescott is going to have to go up against his former teammate. Now, the biggest storyline for this one before we get into the straight details is CeeDee Lamb, who injured his ankle last week against the Chicago Bears. That offense was moving the football on Chicago early on in that game, almost at will. Before CeeDee Lamb went down, were very one-dimensional. They ran the ball pretty well, but without him on the field, that is something to really keep an eye on Sunday. How does Dallas go around it? I think they're going to be a lot more run-oriented. This team is so far on the year, 5.5 yards a carry. They ran the ball really well against Chicago. Also, huge injury news for the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Booker, their 12th overall pick, the Mauler up front, some of the most fun film you can watch for an offensive lineman. This kid is awesome. He will not be playing against Green Bay. That does not bode well. Does not help your offense that has actually been running the football well. And Dak Prescott, they've been one of the best offenses so far in the league. Now, for the Green Bay Packers, some of their injury concerns. Their right tackle, Zach Tom, he will not be out there playing. This is not good news for a team that has struggled to run the football through 3 games. Now, they've played some of the best defenses in football. The Detroit Lions, they have shown the past 2 weeks that they're a lot better than people were giving credit for after week 1 when Green Bay thrashed them. They just went up against a very talented Baltimore Ravens team and were able to dominate the trenches throughout that day. 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson. Were able to limit Derrick Henry, so that is a better fun than people give him credit for. Green Bay's got to be able to run the football. And in order to do that, there needs to be more threat of the downfield passing game. This is a Green Bay offense that comes into this game right now 18th in the league for points, 21st in yards. You can't just give credit to the opponents that you faced. We were talking about this team potentially already being a Super Bowl contender through 2 weeks. You have to be able to play to the competition. Last week, unacceptable in the way that one ended. Jordan Love giving the football away to Cleveland, the first turnover of the season for the Packers, and it cost them in a major way. Cleveland set up inside the 5-yard line, a game the Packers had thoroughly outplayed the Browns during it. They were very good on 3rd down throughout the day, something that you will have to look at going into this one versus Dallas, a secondary that has been terrible. They are 27th in points on defense, 30th in yards. You saw Caleb Williams out there throw 4 touchdown passes, look like he's the second coming of Dan Marino, and just went right through them. And it was obvious that they could have used a certain player by the name of Micah Parsons. So Micah, what type of impact will he have in this one? They're starting to really let off the shackles and he's getting more snaps. He's one of those dynamic players. The Cowboys are going to have to account for him on every single snap, where he is. How will he impact what the Cowboys do offensively? It's evident that when you have 2 great outside threats, like a CeeDee Lamb and a George Pickens, when one guy's covered, you still have a great outlet, someone else to go to consistently. When you take one of those away, it really is a lot tougher. Think of Philly and how good they are and how they were able to adjust against the Rams when they got A.J. Brown going that second half. And then on the 4th and goal, they go to Devontae Smith. Having those 2 outside threats cannot be understated. Micah Parsons will be let loose on this Sunday. You can already hear Chris Collinsworth getting excited. Now, the Cowboys' offensive line, this is a huge key. Can they hold up? Can they continue to run the football? That's one way to mitigate the impact of a Micah, as well as they know having him in their building is Cowboys, I'm expecting to run the football a little bit more in this game. We talked about the yardage so far in the year and how they've ran it well. I believe that this has to be a game plan that is oriented around the run game, getting Javonte Williams more yards on the ground, giving him more carries so that they can keep time of possession, keeping the football away from the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Miles Sanders has also run the ball pretty effectively through the first 3 games. That was something immediately that kind of caught your eye. First drive, that first matchup against Philadelphia, best defense in football a year ago, Super Bowl champs, and they're moving the football. They're doing a pretty good job. 20 points in that first half, and then nothing at all were they able to do in the second half versus Philly. Once they made those adjustments, it's clear the Eagles have a knack for doing that. For the Packers, defensively matching up against the Cowboys. Simply put, I'm going out there and I'm committing to stop the run. The Packers almost have this iconic look of that 5-man front, the 2 backers behind it, and they rotate, playing a lot of nickel coverage. They're going to be daring the Cowboys at times to throw the football, and that can be a little bit dangerous. Remember now that these Cowboys are 10th in the league in points, 4th in yards. They have gone up against 2 of statistically the worst defenses, not just statistically. Your eyeballs tell you that Bears secondary isn't very good. That Giants secondary isn't great, although they are great up front. Cowboys offense is still dangerous even without CD on the field, but clearly that is a large limitation. I was a little bit disappointed last week in Xavier McKinney. A 4th down play for the Cleveland Browns, and he decides to intercept a pass from Joe Flacco. They would have had better field position. This was right at the end of the first half. Green Bay maybe gets a chance to hurl one at the end zone. 6 seconds. You could throw one to about the 42-yard line. You get a chance at a really long field goal, but at least an opportunity to put more points up on the board. Those are the types of mental errors. We saw a couple of them from the Packers on the day. It was too many times that we heard the name of Carson Schwarzenegger on the sack of Jordan Love when I don't understand what we're doing. We're running a play at the end of the third quarter. You have the lead. Salt that thing away. It's clear your offense is struggling. Just make the clock churn. Tick, 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 tick. Let that thing trickle down. Doesn't make any sense running the play. He gets sacked. Myles Garrett's name is called throughout the day. That Green Bay offensive line better be thankful that they're not going up against Micah, because that was a major concern last week against the Cleveland Browns. They have to be better as a unit. Immediately in this game, I'm leaning towards Green Bay because I have faith in Matt LaFleur as a play caller. That Cowboys secondary, it looks like they get their star corner, Deron Bland, back. Remember the injury last year, but he was coming off a 2023 season. 9 interceptions, 5 of those he took back to the house. Having Deron Black for the Cowboys will be important. Missing him last week against Chicago. Odunze going off. And the big deep ball to Luther Burden. Who knows if he's back there? Is he a little bit more disciplined? That Chicago team looked a little bit better than you would have liked if you're a Cowboy fan. They scored 31 points when didn't exactly look like that offense had a bunch of rhythm, except for some spurts in the first half against Minnesota, first half against the Detroit Lions. I'm leaning the Green Bay Packers. That defense is legit. And it's not even just the acquisition of Micah Parsons. Rashawn Gary is playing incredible football. He is one of the best edge guys in the league right now in the way he's defending the run, getting after the quarterback, 4.5 sacks. He will be at Dak Prescott all day, making things tougher. It's pretty clear to me when my eyeballs look at Lucas Van Ness. He's got that burst. This player really is playing with a lot more tenacity, right? He's getting to the quarterback more often, laying hits. His run defense has looked to be a bit more improved. That is a great sign. Right now we're looking at the best defense in football in the sense of points, third in the sense of yards given up, right? That was not at all something that was poor against Cleveland. Their only touchdown of the game, they score getting the ball inside the 5, and then the field goal they get at the end, they got the ball pretty much at midfield. They only needed, 12 yards, and 5 of those were picked up from that Micah Parsons penalty for Cleveland. So that was not a defensive performance. And then the 2 weeks before that, they played great against Washington. What they did against the Detroit Lions, which really allows me to believe they'll have success, because a game against Jaden Daniels Thursday night is not quite equated to what the style will look like. the Detroit Lions, right? They like a lot of play action. We can see a team that really tries to target, right, the deep middle of the field. Jared Goff is so aggressive targeting the middle of the field. That's a part of this Cowboy offense where you're looking at Jake Ferguson, a guy coming off of 13 catches against the Chicago Bears. A very quiet, nice performance. Would have been nice to have that guy on the fantasy team last week. But Ferguson, he's a player that you have to circle right now. And I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers. They need their guy, Tucker Kraft, to go off in this performance, right? We know about Jaden Reed getting hurt, Matthew Golden continuing to make strides. I'm very keen on the tight end matchup. Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, the two tight ends, and how they play throughout this one. Edgar and Cooper really coming along. Believe the second round pick linebacker 2 years ago. He's really playing well on the inside. Just about everybody's playing well defensively. It is not quite known. I'm making this video on Wednesday. What is the status of Devontae Wyatt for the Packers? Don't know. It looks like he will be good to go as of right now. That is huge because without Kenny Clark there, he's stepping up into a much larger role in that defense. Kenny Clark playing for the Dallas Cowboys now. So look at that. It's not just Micah. Everybody's talking about Kenny Clark. He's a great run stuffer, as Green Bay knows, a great interior defender, and he a little bit banged up. Some of these injuries, a concern in this one. I just wanted to make one point of emphasis, because you know this was talked about. On the blocked field goal, Green Bay's chance to go up at the end of the game and win it. Tucker Kraft got beat so badly on that block. He didn't look like he even wanted to put hands on the guy. When the guy's beat behind it, obviously you don't want to hold on to him. But there's a certain energy that we put into tight ends, and he's had the yards. But blocking is so important, and I believe him to be a decently good blocking tight end. It's a different type of play than normal, but that can't happen. We can't have those moments where a guy just gets burnt on the most important play of the game, a chance to go out there and win this thing. That was really disappointing. Go back there, watch the block kick again. I know it might hurt for Green Bay, but look at Tucker Kraft, and you have to hold these guys to a higher standard. It wasn't like some of these big monsters, Jordan Davis, get in the middle of that thing, putting a big paw up. He just got flat out beat off the edge there. Got to be better in those spots. The Dallas Cowboys do not want to give them a chance, and they'll probably be looking at that all this week. Okay, Tucker Kraft on the end there on special teams, right, on point after touchdowns, on field goals. Is he a guy that we could take advantage? Tucker Kraft needs to come out with a little bit of an edge. I have the Packers scoring 30 points in this one. Everything indicates towards Green Bay being able to produce offensively. Can they get the run game going? That's the question. I'm not going to come out here and say, yeah, I believe that they're going to run the ball a lot better. What indicators have we seen through 3 weeks that they're going to do that, besides saying, oh, those are good defenses they've played? Just because they played good defenses, they're going to run the football better in week 4? Sure, maybe against the Dallas Cowboys, but the Chicago Bears ran the ball for 3 yards a carry against Dallas. That's my last indicator. People want to say they dominated Dallas, but only 3 yards a carry. I'm not going to be so bold as to say that. I have the Packers putting up 30 points, though. Believe that they beat the Cowboys in a tighter game than people are expecting. Packers favored by about a touchdown. I have the Cowboys scoring 26, being able to move the ball, relying on George Pickens. They need him to show up. Bad body language, having a little bit of a meltdown there on the sideline. That cannot happen when you have a player that needs to show up for your team. He is a key factor. Him, Ferguson, Williams, and of course the quarterback, Dak Prescott. They all need to play well if they want to have a shot at home Sunday night. Cannot afford to drop to 1-3 on the season, especially 2 of those losses being in the conference. Green Bay Packers 30, Dallas Cowboys 26. Let me know down below in the comments who you believe wins this game. Does Green Bay come out, get a massive road win? Do the Cowboys bounce back at home in a major way on Sunday Night Football? Let me know all that stuff down below. I appreciate you so much for watching. I make NFL college football content every single day, breaking down these games that we are so fired up for. It's almost October. Can't believe where the time has gone. This matchup we were waiting for months is here Sunday night. Green Bay, and Dallas. That just sounds like a whole bunch of fun. So I appreciate you so much. Make sure to subscribe for more videos in the future, and I will see you next time. Appreciate you.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh